with the white paper that we have. And because I was engaging in the phase 1 of the project, so you want me to reflect how I see the relevance of the white paper and the 7 projects and the outcome of the first phase, and now listening to you as well of what the government has done. My limitations is this. You see, as Sue has presented, the things that has been recommended for the institutions, all the points have been taken up, right? And for the regional level, all the points have also been addressed, because we have 2 organizations working on the regions, so we responded to the calls. For the national, I don't think it's fair to say that nothing is there. Probably there are something there, but we don't know, because the methodology that I have, I didn't get to capture that. But having said this, I think it reflects many things in the region. One, we have to admit that the Southeast Asian region is the region of diversity. So we have a country like the Philippines. Just take, for example, the institutionalization of the GEDI policy. You have the Philippines, which has a law on GED since 2015. Very early on that they have that. And they have mechanism cascading it down to the institutional level. Every year, the institutions, especially for the state, university and colleges, they have to submit the gender budget to the government to promise that they would do something on the gender issue. So this is something for the Philippines. Having said this, there are some other countries in Southeast Asia, including Malaysia and Indonesia, that also have the gender policy at the national level, so it's getting institutionalized. But the policy evaporation still persists. So there is a policy there, somewhat partially implemented, depends on how receptive is the leadership. And it also depends on the continuity of the commitment of the leadership as well. Some other countries, when they are sitting in a group like this and hearing from the good practices from the Philippines, you see the 7 projects, sometimes they make reference to the Philippines and they say, oh, I wish our country would have the policy institutionalization in their own countries. Some other countries, for example Laos, they say that they have other priorities. And maybe gender is not the core function. We are struggling with the quality of the higher education and things like that. So you see this as the diversity in terms of the policy institutionalization. That's one. Second, in this region, and I think it's elsewhere as well applied, we have, I'm trying to find a word, I'm not so sure whether this is the best word, but I decided to call it parity illusion. And I would explain. Parity illusion, what I mean is that in Southeast Asia, very often, I'm from Thailand, very often people come to me and say, the statistic on the student enrollment. Now female student enrollment is outnumbered male enrollment. What are you talking about? We are already equal. But hang on a minute, I'm just giving you one example. If you go further, you would see that when you are moving up, to the master and PhD, the numbers goes down. And you talk about access to success. Usually they don't go, even when they are in the STEM area, they don't end up doing the STEM jobs, for example. Feminization of the discipline still exists. It doesn't matter where you are, you still see this. So when you talk about parity and you talk about this enrollment number, I think it's very misleading. And in our region, just this year that you have the first female president in Laos, just this year. I think in Brunei also throughout the history, only one female president. Only 2 female professors in the whole history of the higher education. But then in Myanmar, for example, majority of the presidents are female. But in terms of their governance, they don't have any position, they don't have a decision-making power at all. So I think this parity illusion still persists in our region. And it comes down to how do we actually